Salute to all the diehards. This is Die Hard Giants, and I am your host. I am Jerome on IG and Twitter. Well, Giants lost again. We're 0-2. I got stats for you. We're gonna talk about what happened with Brian Dable and Graham Gano, the kicker that was injured before the game. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about some other stuff that was going on, and what's the like the temperature in the locker room for Brian Dable's job. I got Steph in the back. Might as well get this going. What's up, Steph?
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Listen, I'm here for moral support. I, I this is embarrassing. I forgot the Giants was even on Sunday. So by the
See,
time I turned it on, it was just 8 minutes left. Um, in the I got to do better, and I will do better. But I totally
yo,
forgot.
but guess who else forgot? I think the head coach forgot we was playing too. I think Brian Dable might have forgot that he had to actually put up a 53-man roster, and we only had 51 people. Would you think? Would you look at that?
Yeah.
51 players. The punt returner got hurt last week during warm-ups, and we didn't have a backup punt returner. That's why Darius Slayton was back there, and he fumbled a punt. This week, Graham Gano was on the injury report with a hurt groin
I saw that.
on Saturday, and then Sunday, while he was warming up, he even tweaked it even more. And the punter, Jamie Gillum, was practicing field goals before the game started. But they still managed to not have a backup kicker, even though we had one already on the practice squad. They didn't call him up for some reason. And Graham Gano actually hurt himself even more on the opening kickoff trying to run down a kick return. So you could say that Brian Dable is at fault. You could say Graham Gano is at fault for not maybe disclosing how hurt he was. And he thought he was a linebacker for some reason trying to chase down a kick returner, even though he's a punter and had no chance. But yeah, he's tore his hamstring trying to chase down a kick return. And we didn't have a kicker for the rest of the game. That was the first play.
You think that's just instinct, though?
Yeah,
Because you see kickers do that all the time, like
yeah.
trying to,
It it's instinct, but instinct should also kick in when you only got one leg, though. Like the instinct should happen like soon as you start.
right,
But as you took a couple steps and ran down after 5 yards, you should be like, all right, never mind.
right.
I'm not going to run him down anyway because I'm a slow kicker
Hmm.
and I don't think I have any tackles for my whole career. So why did I do that?
Right.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Jeff was first early,
Hmm.
and Dwayne, Wonder Woman, salute to you too.
Salute, salute, salute.
Dwayne, I gotta make you a what do you call that? Admin or
Hmm. Moderator.
moderator. That's what they call it. Admin, I think is like Facebook or whatever. I gotta make Dwayne a moderator. I'm gonna do that soon. Um, but yeah, salute to everybody in the chat. We're gonna get into these stats. I already told Steph this is gonna be a short show because we don't really have anything to really talk about, man. So welcome to the huddle, week 2. Giants lost 21-18. That score is definitely significant because if we had a kicker, we wouldn't have 18 points. Uh, oh Lord. So for the offense, Daniel Jones, the numbers are pedestrian at best still. But if you actually watch the game, Daniel Jones did not look bad though. It wasn't like the first week. He was actually a competent quarterback. The only thing about Daniel Jones is you can tell that I don't know if he's gun shy throwing down the field or if Brian Dable just doesn't trust him throwing down the field. It was another game of him just, not throwing the ball more than 15, 20 yards. Um, like going forward, that's not going to work. So we obviously still need a quarterback. That's not going to change. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually benched him, but they might not bench him. Knowing how the Giants work, they probably won't bench him until we're like out of playoff contention.
What?
Yeah, knowing them because they like the Giants. Like we real stubborn. Like in our history, we real stubborn when it comes to stuff like that.
But do you think it'll change? The stubbornness will change given the contract that he has, and that if he gets injured, then I think believe his salary is guaranteed for next season. You think that might change it a little bit, change their decision making?
For a good organization with somebody with some sense, yeah. Like you don't even have to know anything about like NFL contracts or how front offices work or anything like that. Like it's almost common sense that we should sit Daniel Jones. Like he's obviously not the guy. They don't think that he's the guy. You can tell by the play calling and how they treat him. Um, like Brian Dable still runs, even though Daniel Jones is who he is. We already know how he plays, right? Even after the ACL, Brian Dable still have him on like drawn up quarterback runs on third down and second down and stuff. Like you wouldn't do that to like your franchise quarterback that hasn't even been a year since the ACL surgery happened.
Right.
So like he's almost putting him in harm's way, even though if he gets hurt again, we might be guaranteed his part of his contract would be guaranteed. It's not the whole 40 million. I think it's like 25.
Right.
But that's still 25 million on the cap that we can obviously use on like three or four positions, depending on what the position is.
Right.
So 178 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He didn't turn the ball over. He played a really, really clean game. Like even though we lost the game, we didn't score that many points. It really wasn't on Daniel Jones. He didn't really make that many mistakes. Like he made the plays that the coach asked him to make. The coach just didn't ask him to make anything significant.
Right. But is the coach not asking him because he doesn't believe in him? Because he also sees that he's a little skittish and maybe not comfortable? It's hard to tell. Like, is it the coach just being off of his game, so to speak, or is it the coach reading Daniel Jones and saying, you know what, I don't want to give him too much?
Like honestly, I think it's Daniel Jones. Like they know that he's not the guy. They don't have any faith in him anymore. They're not dialing up any deep balls. Jalen Hyatt, who was our deep threat that we drafted, early last year in the third round, he's barely hit the field because of that. Like that's his specialty, going downfield. Like that's the reason he got drafted in the first place, and we can't use him. Darius Slayton, even though we always talk about his drops, but nobody's ever said like Darius Slayton couldn't run. Like he's always been fast. He's always been a deep threat. In these past 2 games, we haven't seen that at all. Like it's a reason for that. And then the one time that they did do that, I think Daniel Jones threw him a deep pass in the first week. They didn't connect because Daniel Jones he's not accurate down there anymore. I don't know what it is. It's not an arm strength thing, or it might be an arm strength thing. It might be a mental thing, but I don't know. But Daniel Jones is definitely not the same type of thrower that he was when he first came into the league.
Right.
Like at one point, a lot of people don't realize this, or they might not believe it, but statistically, Daniel Jones throwing deep in his first few years was actually one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. Like when it came to accuracy and stuff, like it was the turnovers that kept, Daniel Jones in the doghouse, not like his deep ball accuracy and stuff like that. But now that's gone away.
Yeah. Remember Danny Dimes?
Yep.
First, yeah.
Yep. Now it's Danny Doodoo. like now it's no more Dimes, man. Like he doesn't throw the ball downfield anymore, and I don't know if it's because remember he had a couple neck injuries that kept him out. Like one time it ended his season, and then last year he was out before he even got hurt with the ACL. He had a neck injury and he missed like a game or 2, and Tyrod came in.
Right.
But I think maybe because of that, maybe the arm strength isn't there anymore. They're just not telling anybody.
Right.
But we would never know that until the documentary comes out, like after he retires and stuff.
After he retires.
Yeah, or when he's not starting anymore. You know how they be having like the 30 for 30 behind the scenes type stuff? Like what happened to Daniel Jones in this organization? Because I think this should be documented. Like this was it's been a real failure in the last two seasons. And the first season that Brian Dable and Joe Shane got here, I think it was almost a disservice us going to the playoffs that year.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
agree.
we picked we way too early. We got a
But I mean,
false.
we couldn't build off of that, though. I mean, I get what you're saying. It could be a detriment if you buy into the hype. Like even
Mhm,
like if your organization be like, okay, we did well, but we know we overachieved. We know we didn't really have the talent.
mhm,
So let's fill up our coffers. Let's do what we have to do. Let's not get sucked in to
mhm.
this, to the record we have.
Right.
So it depends on you know, the approach. If they felt like, oh, we great, we don't need a.
I mean, you got to think about Brian Dable won Coach of the Year,
Hmm.
and then last year he started getting into it with Wink Martindale for some reason. We don't know exactly what the reason was, but it's a reason why. It has to be a reason why both of his coordinators, you could tell they don't like each other. Well, obviously Wink and him and Wink didn't like each other. That's why Wink left.
Right.
Um, Mike Kafka, his responsibilities has been taken away from him, and I don't even know what he does anymore.
Right.
He had a couple head coaching jobs. I think he had a chance to go to Seattle to be like an associate head coach, like like a second in command. He wasn't going to be the head coach, but they offered him to not a lateral position. The only way a coordinator can leave when he's under contract is if it's a promotion.
Right.
So even if they didn't want to hire him as a head coach, they'll give him the title of offensive coordinator slash associate head coach,
Right.
so that so he can actually be poached from us.
Right.
It's almost like a loophole in the rules.
Right.
But they wanted to do that, and the Giants blocked it.
Mm.
Why they blocked it, obviously they're not going to say, but I think it just would have been a bad look for him to lose both of his coordinators in the same year.
Right.
So, I mean, because of that, I think the drama is happening behind the scenes that we just don't know about. They're not going to show that in like Hard Knocks and stuff.
Right.
So part of the reason why Brian Dable maybe you know are lacking in his responsibilities, especially with the special teams, that we talked about the kicker and not having enough um, players on the roster. I think maybe because the responsibilities he's taking over play calling, like he's handling the offense exclusively now. So I think some stuff is being, falling through the cracks,
Right.
and he can't handle it. I don't think he might be the type of person that should just be a coordinator, not a head coach. Like it just takes a special type of person to be a head coach. You have to have your hands in everything, and it doesn't look like he is capable of doing that.
Or maybe be the head coach and not also the coordinator.
Yeah, because like that's what they did in the first season. In the first season, we go to the playoffs.
Right.
Second season, he has turmoil with Wink. We're losing. He takes the responsibilities from Kafka like mid season,
Hmm.
even though he didn't want to admit it. So yeah, that could be it. He could be feeling himself, and they told him about himself, because Wink Martindale seemed like the type of person that he don't care if you won Coach of the Year. You can't just talk to him or say anything you want to. Like
Right.
you could tell he's not that type of person. I
Right.
think he wanted to actually fight Brian Dable.
Right.
So you obviously can't have that. He had to go. Um, but yeah, Daniel Jones is still under 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Devin Singletary had a um, very good night or very good day, but he fumbled in the fourth quarter.
Hmm.
Malik Neighbors had an awesome day, besides that one drop he had in the fourth quarter on fourth down. Well, I have a video of him talking about that. But Malik, before I play that, I just want to let people know that Malik Neighbors, the 10 catches for 127 and a touchdown, he is the youngest person in NFL history to have those type of numbers
Wow.
in a game. Like he's the first person or the youngest person in NFL history to have 10 or more catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown in a game. That has never happened at his age. So
Right. With Daniel
um,
Jones throwing.
with Daniel Jones throwing. not and no connections downfield. It was all yaks. It was all yards after the catch with Malik Neighbors. Like it was just all crossing patterns and stuff like that. So um, salute the deception. Salute. Hold on. We got somebody else in the chat. Salute, welcome. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much the offense. Let me get the since we on Neighbors before we get to the defense, because that's what I really want to get down to. Like that's what really failed us yesterday. It wasn't the offense, even though we only scored 18 points. If we had a kicker, it would have been 3 touchdowns, 21.
Right.
But hold on, let me get
shout out to the offensive line too.
Yes, the offensive line played awesome. Like you could tell they played awesome because nobody talk about them.
Right.
That's when you know when your offensive line is clicking, because Daniel Jones didn't get sacked. There was no fumbles. There was no interceptions. He didn't have any dumb throws because it was pressure in his face. Mm-hmm. So, like you're right. You're definitely right. Salute to the offensive line.
And also, I didn't watch the first 3 quarters, but Devin Singletary with 95 yards. I would, think that that's not all him, right? That the offensive line, opened up some holes for him to run through.
Right. It would kind of almost make you, think about what if we still had Saquon Barkley with this good line. But, that's another conversation. Let me get Malik Neighbors in here. He was asked about the drop. It was a crucial drop, 4th down. We didn't have a kicker, so we had to go for it instead of doing the field goal. Routine catch on the sideline, had his feet down inbounds, and just bounced right off of him. And you could tell that he was mad. He was pissed. He was on the sideline. You could just tell he was just really mad at himself. Brian Dable actually tried to go over there to talk to him, and he couldn't even talk to him. Like he was like, "Just not now, not now." Like he was really mad at himself.
Right.
So
you should make every time the last one.
I mean, obviously. I mean, they're high on me. They passing me the ball. They know I can make plays. I'm sure, out of 1,000 times they're gonna continue to call that play and go at me on 4th down again. So obviously I want to make that play. I'm disappointed. I mean, no matter how good of a game you can play, that last play came down to me. I'm hurt that I let those veterans down. I mean, they know what kind of player I am. Dex, Burns, Isaiah, I know what kind of confidence they got in me. So just letting those guys down, I don't want to never let my team down. That's the main motto that's in my head is don't let my team down. I let my team down.
See, that is the perfect answer that you would want any rookie to say. Like he took accountability. No excuses. He put the loss on him, even though that wasn't the reason we lost the game. Can't ask for anything more. Dwayne said yes, the O-line, deception. DJ played a clean game and Neighbors put offense on his back. The defense just left us enough opportunities on offense. 3rd downs need to be addressed. Yes, absolutely. We definitely going to talk about the defense. I just want to, get that Malik Neighbors video out there and get away from the offense, because that wasn't the reason we lost the game, man. Like Brian Dable boneheaded actions before the game with the roster. And this defense, Steph. Hold on. Let me get the defense. Let's just get the key players out the way. Micah McFadden had a good game, tackle-wise. Put Andrew Phillips up here because it was his first start. Our rookie slot corner, drafted out at 3rd round. He's actually had a good 2 games. Caused a fumble in the first week. This week he made his first start. Barely got off the field. Almost led the team in tackles. Very, very physical at the line of scrimmage. I think he got 3 catches put on him. Whoever he was guarding, I think he allowed 3 catches for 4 yards. So, Andrew Phillips so far, Joe Shane got one. We got a player when it comes to Drew Phillips. I'm not so sure that he should, we still in need of a second corner, because I don't think that he's a boundary corner on the outside. He should definitely stay in the slot just because of his physicality. And when you're a slot corner in today's NFL, you're going to be on the field a lot because most teams run more than 2 wide receivers now. It's not like it was in the 80s and 90s. Like slot corners are going to be on the field at least by 75% of the game. So, so Drew Phillips actually, he gets the game ball for me. Between him and Malik Neighbors, probably because they both rookies, and rookies shouldn't be having to shoulder, most of the game and the players with the amount of leaders that were supposed to be on this team. Like Andrew Phillips was probably our best defender yesterday. Jason Pinnock, I have him up here because he had 2 sacks, 9 tackles, but to me, he didn't really have a good game. If you actually look at the tape, like I watched this game twice. Like last week, I watched it 3 times, but only could stomach this one twice. Like he got big boy by Zach Ertz, and Zach Ertz is old enough to be like a grandfather. Like I don't know how he got that passed off, and then he had a crucial holding penalty on 3rd down, and the holding penalties and the lack of getting off the field is the reason why we lost this game. It wasn't because of Malik Neighbors dropping the ball. It wasn't because of us not having a kicker or anything the offense did. We could not get off the field on defense. It was one of the worst defensive performances that I think I've ever seen, and we didn't allow a touchdown.
Right.
We ended up being the first team in NFL history to score 3 touchdowns, not give up a touchdown, and still lose. So Brian Dable is finding new ways to lose in the NFL. Like it's never happened before. So stuff like that, kills you inside, especially me with, trying to do content creation and stuff happens like this. Record-breaking losses kills fan bases. And it kills locker rooms too.
Yeah.
Before I get off of our defense, I want to show like the team defense. Hold on 1 second. Get this in here. All right, now these are the team stats. As you can see, on the right-hand side, the Commanders had a total of 425 yards. 215 of them were on the ground. Like they was running all over us, man. Like up the gut, sweeps. Like it really didn't matter. And if you have somebody like Dexter Lawrence in the middle, this should not happen. Like something is definitely wrong with our front 4. Brian Burns has been a disappointment so far in the first 2 weeks of the season. Kayvon Thibodeau didn't show up last week. But this week, Kayvon Thibodeau didn't have a bad game. He didn't have any sacks, but he had like 5 pressures. Played pretty good game, but he didn't dominate it all. Brian Burns didn't dominate it all either. And he didn't hardly get any pressures against a tackle. Like Washington has one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Like they don't have a good offensive line at all. Jaden Daniels in the first week against the Bucs was constantly pressured. He didn't get. I mean, we sacked him a lot because Jaden Daniels is a rookie quarterback. Like we're supposed to be salivating at rookie quarterbacks on 3rd and long.
Right.
They
had 5 sacks on him.
Right. We had 5 sacks, but that's just because he's running around. He's a mobile quarterback, and he didn't throw the ball downfield either. So a lot of those sacks were like, him just trying to hold on to the ball too long. It didn't come out quick. But 215 yards on the ground, that can't happen. I could obviously take the 210 in the air because, like I said, he didn't throw the ball downfield at all. But 215 yards on the ground is crazy. Let me scroll down a little bit. They had 22 first downs. And when you go all the way down for time of possession, we had the ball 22 minutes. They had the ball 37. So if they're going to have the ball 15 minutes more than us, we're not going to win that game. And we only lost by 3 points at the end of like a field goal at the end of the game.
Right.
So that should tell you like our defense failed us yesterday. Like I couldn't believe it, man. Like our defense, our front 4 is supposed to be like, the anchor of this team. For a rookie quarterback to have this many 3rd downs, like the 3rd down efficiency, they were 7 for 14. 14 3rd downs. Like it was hard for them to get off the field. Washington had 7 drives. They didn't punt all game.
Mm.
So, like I know Shane Bolton or Belton, I forgot his last name, that like the defensive coordinator that we have now that came from Tennessee. He actually is a good run defending defensive coordinator at Tennessee, but we obviously don't have the personnel that matches his defense. Like something is obviously wrong. I don't know what it is, but our front four is supposed to have a lot of pressure on them. Like they said in the beginning of the season that it's not supposed to be like Wink Martinsdale's defense. Like Wink blitzed a lot. We don't do that much blitzing anymore. But if our front four isn't going to get there, I have no idea how are we going to stop anybody. Like Washington is not a good team.
Right.
They're not supposed to march up and down the field like that. They didn't punt on Sunday.
Wow.
Not one punt. So,
Wow.
Not one punt. That's all I kept saying. Like as I was watching the game, not one punt. Like you're just gonna keep going down. No,
They weren't good in the red zone, but you think that was more about them than it was our defense?
no. It was more about them. Like don't get me wrong, our defense did. I don't know. A lot of defensive coordinators preach bend but don't break defenses. I actually hate that term. Like bend but don't break defenses don't work on good teams that know how to get into the end zone. If Washington was a good team, we would have got slaughtered. All of those red zone trips that they had a penalty on damn near all of them. Sometimes on third down, so they had to kick a field goal. Like that. It was just really, really bad on defense. That was the worst our defense have played. I don't even know. We had a worse performance last year, and Dallas put up 40 points. A couple other teams put up a lot of points on us, but it wasn't like that though. They didn't just run up and down the field on us. So just real quick, just to get into Washington's stats, Jaden Daniels, obviously a rookie, number 2 pick in the draft. Didn't score any touchdowns, obviously, but he still controlled the pocket, was very, very mobile, hard to tackle. He was as advertised. Like you could tell that he was supposed to be like the number 2 pick in the draft. He actually played well, even though he didn't score any touchdowns. He's not even developed as a passer yet to get the ball to like Terry McLaurin. Like they have a couple weapons, but he just can't get the ball to him right now. Brian Robinson looked like Walter Payton during the game. He was running up and down the field, Steph. Like 17 carries for 133 yards. Like he looked like he was Adrian Peterson. One of those plays, it was like a 4th and 1. And he pranced for like a 40-yard gain right up the middle. Like it was weird. Like our defense is just weird. With Dexter Lawrence there, I just don't understand it. And I had to highlight their kicker just because he put 7 field goals on us. Like they didn't even have anybody else on their offense for me to even put up there.
Right.
Like it was just Jaden Daniels running around, Brian Robinson running up the gut. They had Austin Eckler, the ex-running back from the Chargers. He's on the team now as the backup. A lot of screen passes towards them. They ran a lot of screens, and a lot of their passes was around the line of scrimmage. Like they really rarely threw the ball downfield.
You could have put one of the Giants' defensive players.
I should put whoever had the most penalties on defense up there as one of their players. Dwayne said it was the Swiss cheese defense. Salute to Walt, man. Walt, my guy.
Yeah.
And on their side, they didn't really have anything to write home about either. Like we scored 3 touchdowns. Compared to like the first week and how our offense has been looking, like that was an explosion. You know what I'm saying? Even though we only scored 18 points, like scoring, 3 touchdowns is crazy. Like Malik Neighbors scored his first touchdown. Devin Singletary got his first touchdown for the Giants. Like it was actually not too bad on offense other than, we didn't have a kicker. So yeah, that's about it. Like, I don't have anything else to say about the game other than Brian Dable, mismanaged the roster. Offense, was lackluster, but you could tell it was way better than it was in the first week. And our defense being Swiss cheese.
Right. Do you think? I mean, it's only 2 games though, but do you
Mhm.
think he's on? He's at risk of being replaced. I mean, the Giants. I don't know if they have a history of changing coaches during the season. Do they?
No, they don't. Like I said earlier in the show, like the Giants are really stubborn when it comes to this stuff. Like they're like a self-proclaimed classy organization. Like it's very rarely that they will fire a coach mid-season. That's why I don't think they're going to bench Daniel Jones, even though the health risk is really really risky. Look how long it took them to get off of Eli Manning. Some of the decisions they made when it came to that, like they hold on to a lot of stuff. They hold on to tradition. That's why I was really really shocked that even though this isn't necessarily a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
the owner, John Mara, like he's a meddler. Like, some owners you don't never hear from, or, they just hire a general manager or a team president, whether you're in basketball or whatever, and they just fade in the background. They don't make any type of decisions or anything like that. But John Mara is like notorious for meddling. Like Eli Manning was on this team because John Mara didn't want to get off of him.
Right.
He hired, after he got rid of Jerry Reese, he hired David Gettleman just so he could like keep the same type of ball rolling. Like it wouldn't have been like no missteps when it came to the organization.
Right.
There was no turnover it wasn't that much turnover between Jerry Reese and David Gettleman.
Right.
That's why even though we got a new general manager, the team pretty much just went like in the same direction that it was going, and that's why we were bad. So now when he hires Joe Shane, everybody think, this is supposed to be different. It's supposed to look different. And even though it does look different, you could tell by how they got rid of Xavier McKinney. They got rid of Saquon Barkley. Decisions like that, you could tell that John Mara didn't make those.
No.
Like that was Joe Shane got rid of those guys for cap space. Not saying that those were the good or bad decisions, but you could just tell that those are definitely not decisions that John Mara made. Like you can tell he loves Saquon Barkley.
Right.
And on Hard Knocks earlier this summer, they actually showed conversations of him, disagreeing with Joe Shane with letting Saquon Barkley go, but he let him make the decision. Not saying that still wasn't staged and planned, because you never know. Like, to me, when it comes to Hard Knocks, the Giants showed us what they wanted to show us.
Right.
They had, first refusal to everything that was released to HBO. If they didn't want to show anything, HBO wouldn't do it.
Right.
So everything, all the disagreements and everything that happened on Hard Knocks is because the Giants wanted us to see that. So I don't even know if it really was a disagreement when it came to stuff like that. And he doesn't make the decisions, but from the outside looking in, he want us to think that he doesn't meddle anymore.
Right.
I think he heard like the noise on Twitter, and a lot of fans don't want him or any other owner to meddle like that. Like think of Jerry Jones with the Cowboys.
Right.
Cowboys fans hate Jerry Jones. I know a lot of them. None of them like Jerry. I don't know any Cowboy fan that actually like Jerry Jones because of the stuff that he does with the team.
Right.
Even though they're the most popular team in the NFL. So. Yeah, that's about it. I have a short video of Brian Dable talking about being 2-0. A reporter asked him, what do you tell the team that, being 2-0? I'll let everybody hear what he has to say and how you feel about Brian Dable.
Is this a pivotal point? Can you feel as the head coach, as the leader of your locker room, is this a pivotal point for you guys in your season to make sure that which way it turns?
I think you just have to focus on the week at hand. I've been part of some 0-2 teams that ended up pretty well. I know they have here. So, again, what really happened, 10 years ago or last year, like I've always said, really has no bearing on anything this season. I thought we made some improvements in a lot of areas. Need to continue to improve on the things that we're not doing well at this time, and focus on the Cleveland Browns.
What 0-2 team were you part of that turned something around? I'm sorry, I don't know.
That was a long time ago, 2001.
Oh, yeah, that team. Yeah.
1-3. So, again, that's 2001 or 2020. None of that really matters, Ryan. So what matters is doing the things we need to do internally to fix some of the things that, we're having issues with. I think, again, there's been some improvement. There was improvement in the red zone defense from week 1 to week 2. There was improvement, I'd say, in almost every area offensively. And we need to continue to build off of those things and then fix the things that aren't up to standard.
Brian Day was going to get fired at the end of the season. Man, I don't care what he talking about no more. Like, that was like blah, blah, blah to me. It was like alphabet soup coming out of his mouth, man. Like, he going to get fired. I'm not saying that they're going to fire Joe Shane too, but they both might be gone by the end of the season.
Yeah. Listen, how much of that is because Belichick is waiting in the wings? Maybe if Belichick wasn't, maybe they would be a little more patient. We shall see. He is a Giants, he's a Giants guy. He's getting up there in age too. You can't wait too.
That is true. That's true.
But he's talking about them improving on offense from week 1. And he's giving the defense credit for what happened in the red zone. Though I was reading, I like his name. What was his name? Valentine, when he does the wet willies and kudos. I like his article.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, but I forgot his first name. But I do know who you're talking about, though.
He basically said it was a lot of Washington mishaps in the in the red zone. But what he's not talking about is what you were talking about in the beginning of the show, maybe even before we got on, putting your team in the best position to win. The kicker is, and he was on an injury report Saturday. I saw that.
Right.
So I was like, oh man, what they gonna do? Next thing you know, he playing. I said, wow, from Saturday to Sunday.
Right. Not just playing, kicked off.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't just handle field goals.
Right.
Like, he actually kicked off. Like, he tried to boot it through the uprights on the other side of the field, Steph. Like, how do you do that if you have a pulled groin as a kicker?
Right. And then how do you not, even if you're going to start him, have some insurance, like, bring somebody up, like, listen, all right, we think he's good. He said he's good. All right, fine. But let's just bring somebody up just in case he does get hurt.
Right. We have roster space. You have that, not you have to, but the limit is 53-man roster. We dress 51 people. So we had 2 slots left. And we have a kicker already on the practice squad ready.
Right.
And he did not call him up just to be a backup or any type of insurance, even though he knew the one kicker that he had a pulled groin. So it's stuff like that, what I mean. Like, when I say he's going to get fired, it's not just because of stuff that's on the field.
Right.
He should be fired because of that.
Right.
He lost us a game. And this is not the first time it happened, because Graham Gano had like a groin problem. Was it a groin or a knee? This happened last year. Almost the same thing. Like, we didn't have a kicker for, I think it was the Jets game. Now, I think did we end up winning that game? I forgot. Like, it didn't cost us the game, but we didn't have a kicker again. And it was almost like the same thing that happened. Just like Gunnar Oslowski was hurt pretty much all preseason. But he play like week 1, he warmed up and got hurt during warm-ups. And we didn't have a backup punt returner. Like, how? Why? He was hurt all preseason. You wouldn't think to have another another punt returner, and you put like Darius Slayton back there, who I haven't seen return a punt since he's been in the league. I think he did it in college, but he was at Auburn.
Right. You gotta injure like 2-3 players before you get to Slayton.
Right.
He can't be the backup.
He can't be he shouldn't be the backup.
Right.
Like he's not a punt returner.
Right.
You had Adoree Jackson back there. That was one thing he did last year. I think when we didn't have a punt returner last year, he stuck Adoree Jackson back there, and that's when Adoree Jackson got hurt. So, like, we obviously have a special teams problem,
Right.
and for some reason, he almost like refuses to address it, and I don't get it.
Right.
And stuff like that is the reason you should be gone. And I actually like Brian Dable. Like the first year, you remember how I used to talk about him. Like Brian Dable was my guy. I actually like him. I like this message. I like how he did the X's and O's. I like how he got us prepared.
Right.
But ever since like last year, with all the coordinator stuff happened,
Right.
it's almost like the bloom is off the rose.
It shriveled up.
Yep. Remember when Joe Judge first got here?
Yeah, I used to love the way Joe Judge talked. I used to be
What?
like, football is back.
What? I'm ready to run through a brick wall during the press conference, Steph.
Right.
He stunk. He didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing, man. He was a special teams coach, moving from special teams to just being a head coach and being responsible for everything. Like, it takes a special type of person to do that. Like, it's a lot going on. Like, that's why everybody can't be a head coach. There's so many failures when it comes to the NFL. You can be the best coordinator in the world. Most of the best coordinators don't even make good head coaches.
Right.
There's usually somebody that you would never think that is like would be a head coach. So I don't know how this season is gonna.
Oh, I know. You talk about win losses, or you talk about whether?
No, I'm just talking about like the Brian Dable and Joe Shane, like their fate. I already know that we're not going to be a good team. We're going to lose mostly all these games. This is one of the games that I thought we had to win, though. Now that I see the rest of our schedule, we might not win more than 2 or 3 games this year. Like, we needed this one. Washington, we needed to sweep them for us to look respectable.
Right.
And they have a rookie quarterback.
Sometimes for this, at least for this particular Giant organization who get attached to players, and that's mostly the ownership, maybe you need to go 1-15. You know, so you can't sugarcoat it. You can't look at it and be like, oh man, you know, we 5 and something, but we lost 3 games by 6 points. If we could just do this, we're gonna be all right. No. When you 1-15, you 2-14, you can't judge that up.
Right, exactly.
Burn it to the ground, and you got to start over.
Yeah, but since Tom Coughlin has been here, Jerry Reese has been here, I guess fans is just tired of burning it down. I guess the ownership is tired of burning it down too. You're just making all the bad decisions.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't want to make a decision.
That's a combination though with Dable and what's his name? Shane. I thought they had a good combo. I thought this was gonna be.
Me too.
This was gonna be it.
Like the draft picks, the first 2 draft picks that he had, the Kayvon Thibodeau and the tackle's name. Now I can't. He don't even start anymore.
He don't even start anymore. We
got
changing his position. He don't even.
Right. I even forgot his name.
Oh, what's his name? Oh man, top 10. He was a top 10 pick. Him and Thibodeau.
Yeah, but regardless, he's not out of the league. Like, I guess they'll probably give him another chance, but he probably done with the Giants though.
What was his snap count last game?
I don't think he played at all. I don't think he played this season yet. Like,
wow.
Like, our offensive line, that's the thing. His replacement, Jermaine Illuminor from the Raiders, is his replacement, and he's actually been pretty good. So as long as you're above average, he's never going to get that spot back.
But I mean, he's not even getting snaps.
Mm-mm. But to be honest, as an offensive lineman, if nobody gets hurt, he shouldn't get snaps, though, if you're a backup. Like, it's not like they have a pitch count when it comes to offensive linemen unless you hurt. Like, none of them should be coming out of the game unless they hurt. They know, I'm tired this drive.
But the offensive linemen,
they don't rotate. It's not like defensive line. Defensive linemen rotate all the time. Offensive linemen do not rotate. You're supposed to have camaraderie, and you're supposed to like your goal is to have the same exact 5 linemen start and finish the game. But defensive linemen is completely different. You definitely rotate because they're on the hunt. Like they tire a lot faster. Defenses in general tire faster than offense because they're the ones doing the hunting. So yeah, if you're on offense, if my offensive tackle is playing well and he's not getting any penalties, he's not getting beat, my backup isn't playing at all unless he's got hurt or something.
But you know what, Jarrell? That's another reason that not necessarily coaches, but general managers get fired by draft picks that don't hit. I mean, this is a top 10 pick. I think what was he, 7?
Mm-hmm. Can't hit. And it's not even just that. Like, when you think of their other picks, none of them other ones hit either. Like, Banks, I like. That was last year in the first round. I like Malik Neighbors, obviously. But other than that,
He's not even playing. He's not getting a lot of snaps either.
And I adopted him already. Remember, I get a son each draft. And he was my son last year, and they had treated my son terribly.
Yeah. So and then Brian Burns. It's still early. It's only 2 games, but you made that trade, and it's not showing dividends. So this is how front offices get fired. Yep.
This is a huge disappointment for Brian Burns. I'm not saying that he can't turn around. It's only 2 games.
Right.
So it's not like, Brian, like it's sealed that Brian Burns was a bad choice. But yeah, from outside, like now, for right now, it's been a failure.
Right.
He hasn't done anything.
And Thibodeau, he's been hit or miss, but he was what, the 4th pick?
5th. Either or. Doesn't matter. Either or.
I mean, it's still, listen, this is what, his 2nd season?
3rd.
Oh, what?
Yeah, this is their 3rd. That was their first pick. This is all of their 3rd year.
Yeah, I would think that you would expect him to show a little more by now.
Right. So we'll see. Obviously, I'll talk about the next game real quick. I didn't go through players, but I have like with the remember you asked me how many teams were in the league last year. That was like, well, how many teams is in the league?
Because we were 32nd last
week. We were 32, so you can tell that we scored a couple touchdowns, so we're not the worst team in the league right now. I think that title belongs to the Panthers once again. They just benched their young quarterback that they just drafted number 1 overall last year, Bryce Young, who a lot of people think we could or should trade for. I don't know about that. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, we're 30th in scoring, 25th, 26th. Offense, defense is still on the bad side of wrong. We play the Browns next week. They're actually having a bad season also compared to what people thought they were in the beginning of the season. Deshaun Watson hasn't looked good. Nick Chubb is obviously hurt, so they have another running back. Ford is their starting running back now. And, their defense actually have a couple stars on it. And, yards, they're in the top half of the league. But, yeah, people still score on them too. But it's only been 2 weeks, so I put these stats up here, but they don't really mean anything yet. They won't mean anything until maybe like the middle of the season, around week 7, 8, 9, stuff like that.
Right.
Because now, like these teams, it's only been 2 games. Like being ranked like dead last after 2 games, I don't really care about that yet. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna suck all season, or that's
except for the Giants.
Except for the Giants. Like, you're right. I already know that we're going to be in the bottom half. Not saying that we should be 32 though.
Right.
But we're definitely going to be like 22 and down. Like we're going to be in the bottom half or the bottom 3rd of the league. I'd be shocked if not. But I just saw that Dwayne said we about to go 4-13. I actually think he might be off. I think he's
off. I think he over.
Yeah, you you might be overreaching by 2 games. And that's saying something.
Yeah.
Oh, and he also said, yeah, that Jets game that I was talking about when we didn't have a kicker, we lost that game. Yeah, so that's it, man. Like the Giants play the Browns. I do believe it's another 1:00 game.
Let me set my alarm.
Hey, you know how bad you gotta be with the team playing and just chilling. Like you wasn't doing that. You was just
I wasn't doing any. I was watching the YouTube. I said, "Whoa,
the Giants are playing."
Yeah,
And look, ain't nobody around you yelling. You know, you still in Brooklyn, right? Ain't nobody yelling at the Giants or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where the Giants fans that around you that you don't even know a game is being played.
Right. Right.
All right, man. So you still on Thursday, right? You got any final words?
Shout out, to you for doing your thing and being consistent with it. And I actually like this format, this Tuesday format. The game is already played to come out, just kind of talk about our thoughts about it. So kudos to you.
Thank
you. To Just Nick and his show this Thursday. We've been going through the rosters, comparing the Knicks to the other playoff teams, or who I think will be playoff teams. And we'll be going through Milwaukee and Philadelphia this Thursday. So that should be interesting. And looking forward to the season,
Yeah, when do you know when training camp start? I forgot.
I want to say media day is September 30th and training camp is October 1st. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe
it sound about right. It's usually like around at least the first week of October.
Yes.
So yeah, so all we got is the Knicks, Dad.
All we got is the Knicks, and the season will overlap with the Giants. So we have a tough game, and the Knicks probably play within the next day or two.
Or on that day. They be having Sunday games sometimes.
Sunday games too. Yeah.
I'll miss a Giants game just to watch it. I can watch a Giants game later. I can check that out later, man. Especially if we playing somebody. I guess it depends on who we playing, but we won't be favored, I don't think, in no game this season at home.
So either.
Except for we play Washington again. See, this was in Washington, so I guess depending on how the teams are playing, I forgot what week we played them again, but we will probably be definitely. I don't know what I'm saying because this team got me flustered. Will we be favored? Will we be favored at home? Because if we're going to be favored, it's definitely going to be at home, and that's like the only home game I see us having a chance of winning.
Well, that'll be one of the 2 games that we're gonna
One of the 2 games. Look at what we talking about, man. It's just week 2. Pretty soon, I'll probably gonna have like college mock-ups up, like like I'm gonna have to switch the focus somehow. Like we can't just be talking about how bad the Giants are every Tuesday.
I think we probably can get through the game in 20 minutes. I think today we got to do it in like 30 something, but probably get it in like 20. But then we can also talk about Dable watch. But like you said, knowing the Giants, he'll probably make it to the end of the season.
Coaching alternatives, a whole block of coaching. Coaching. You mentioned Bill Belichick. Mike Vrabel is out there.
How old is Belichick though?
Old as hell too. 7. I think he is in the 70s, 71 maybe 72.
Oh man!
But I think he's only like maybe 20 something games for the record until the record. So I can see why he wants to keep it pushing. He didn't really have that much of a roster of teams to go to this past season when he didn't get brought back by the Patriots. I think the Falcons, he interviewed with the Falcons. They gave it to the young guy, Raheem Morris. I think that was kind of weird. I would have picked Bill. I guess you never know what he's asking for. Like Bill Belichick, he's established enough to ask for whatever the hell he wants when he walks into an
And
interview.
the Giants gonna give it to him, whatever
Right.
he asks for.
Exactly. So this job wasn't up. Like, did he go to Atlanta? They might not give him everything that he wants, even though he has a right to ask for it.
Right.
With the Giants, oh yeah, he cleaning house. Everybody's gone.
Yeah.
But the crazy part is Brian Dable, he actually likes him and worked for him before.
Right.
So say if Brian Dable wasn't a head coach, he might have brought him in as an offensive coordinator. But that would be weird. I don't like if we're going to fire Brian Dable, he's not going to be part of the organization. It's not like Bill Belichick is going to come here and then make Brian Dable the offensive coordinator. That's not happening.
Yeah. And Dable shouldn't want that. Like,
Hell no.
these are the players you were the head coach, and now you
Right.
got to just go.
Right. I don't know if that's ever happened before. I would have to look that up where a coordinator got them, like a head coach got demoted to coordinator like the very next season. I don't think so. Maybe like an interim head coach, maybe, but not like a head coach that was already solidified and that was his job. So
Yeah. Belichick is 72, by the way. He'll be 73 in April.
so that means 73 when the season starts next season. I'll take it. It's Bill Belichick. Like, let's just say if Brian Dable gets fired and we bring in Bill Belichick, like, how mad you gonna be?
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? Not even saying that he's the answer or whatever. The game might have passed him by. It's not like the Patriots were any good after Tom Brady left.
Right.
But at least you know what he's doing and he'll have a damn kicker. At least you know he'll have a kicker. At least you know he'll have a punt returner.
Yeah. And he reminds me of or when he was with New England, reminds me of Miami Heat. They would just bring players in that was seemingly over the hill, underachieving, get in their system, boom, career revive.
Or players you never heard of.
Right.
He won the Super Bowls when the number one wide receiver was Troy Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't even know who that is, as I just said it.
Right.
Like, he was their number one wide receiver for like 2 of their Super Bowls.
Yeah.
They didn't even pass the ball that much. Tom Brady, with Tom Brady's first 3 Super Bowls, I believe they weren't even a passing team; they were a running team. He was more of a game manager. It was the later years where he, started airing it out and he started dissecting defenses like they were nothing.
Right.
But it took him a while to get to that point. All those early chips that they had, those were Bill Belichick's chips.
Right.
Hard-nosed defense, run the ball. Now, we have Brian Dable. Like, that doesn't look like our team at all. Like, if Brian Dable would come here, I mean, not Brian Dable, but Bill Belichick would come here, this team would look completely different.
Right.
So, we'll see. I'll see y'all next week, 7 o'clock Tuesday. 7 o'clock. Oh, 9 o'clock. I'm sorry. 9 o'clock Tuesday. 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Tuesday, I will be here. I do not know when the next Giants game is on Sunday. I don't know if we play.
Real quick is
Okay. Hold on. I could look at it.
because I need to know what it is.
We play 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1 o'clock at Cleveland. So, we're going into Cleveland. It's going to be rough dealing with that dog pound. And then the game after that,
Yeah.
then the game after that, we play the Cowboys on Thursday.
Thursday. So yeah.
So
4 days.
yeah, so we're gonna go into Cleveland and then at home against the Cowboys 4 days later.
Yeah.
Steph,
Yeah.
you might you might want to skip that game. You might want to forget that one too. But of course, I'm definitely gonna watch, even if we get slaughtered. I don't care, man. It's a Giants football game. I'll watch every second of it.
Right.
Any other last words before we get out of here?
No, appreciate you.
All right, let me just salute to the chat. Salute to my guy Dwayne. Deception came in. Thank you for coming through. Like, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Wonder Woman was here earlier. My guy Jeff was the first one earlier today, like an hour and a half before the stream even started. Our guy Jeff. You'll see him on Thursday on Steph Show. Mm-hmm. And we out. Peace.